Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Captain's Table. I am your host, Captain B-Nard, flying solo today to talk to you guys about the RoDL3, that is the Rocket Draft League Season 3. This was the big announcement that I kind of teased at the end of my last battle video as to what the future of the channel might hold, and as you can tell by the thumbnail and the video title and what I just said, of course, this is going to be it. So I have joined a draft league for the first time in a little over a year, actually, and also the first time in Sword and Shield. And so I felt the time was kind of right to do this now for a couple of different reasons. If you guys recall, I've been in two prior draft leagues. Those were the NGDL3, which was about a year and a half ago to almost 2 years ago at this point, which we didn't do very well in, didn't even place in the top cut or the make the playoffs for that matter. And then, of course, after that was the NGDL4, which, if you remember, we actually ended up winning that one, which was pretty incredible. That one concluded a little over a year ago. This is, like I said, the first draft league that I've done in quite some time, and there are a couple different reasons for that. Probably the biggest of which is it's really been a transitional period for Pokemon in gaming, and what I mean by that is obviously we jumped generations from Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with Gen 7 into Gen 8 with Sword and Shield. You know, of course, starting off on Sword and Shield, the Pokédex was not very big. It's gotten, somewhat better now with the expansion pass DLCs, the Isle of Armor and the Crown Tundra, which are both out now, obviously. Which both raise the Pokemon count significantly in Sword and Shield. Yeah, I kind of felt the time was right to jump back in with the old Philadelphia Pidgeys. I felt it was time for the Pidgeys to fly again after all this time away, and that's what we're going to do here, and hopefully we can do good in this draft league as well. This is going to be making up pretty much all of the Pokemon battling content that you're going to get from me for quite some time here, or at least until it's the draft league's concluded. I'm going to talk to you guys basically a little bit about the draft league, how it functions and operates, and then we're going to do a overview of my team that I drafted. The RoDL3, like I mentioned, is the Rocket Draft League Season 3, and it is actually pretty similar to other draft leagues that I've entered before, which was actually one of the big selling points for me to want to join this league, because it is a point-based draft system as opposed to a tier-based, and I've only ever done point-based drafts before, so I felt more comfortable doing that. The point system works a little bit different, though, than what we're familiar with in this one. I believe the point cap for the draft was set at 48 points for this one, and the Pokemon were all laid out in tiers, costing anywhere from as high as 10 points to as low as 1 point. The numbers are definitely going to crunch differently in this league than what we're used to. One of the big differences is that the way the Pokemon are tiered in this league is not as much Smugon based as the other leagues I've been in. For the most part, the other league kind of tiered everything point wise based on Smugon single tiers, and this draft league definitely departs quite a bit from that. So it kind of follows more of a traditional draft league tier formula in terms of which Pokemon are higher cost and which ones are lower cost. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of Pokemon that are really not very good in Smugon singles, but in a draft league setting, they become much better. And a great example of this is Ditto, actually. Ditto is not a very used or very high tier Pokemon at all, and it is much better in a draft league setting. And there are tons of examples of this, but essentially what that boils down to is in this draft league, there's not really going to be as many value pickups as we could find in drafts past. So Pokemon that were maybe lower tiered on the Smugon list, therefore they would cost less in a draft league setting. So therefore you could get a really good deal on really good Pokemon. That's not so much of a thing in this league, so definitely have to be a lot more careful about how you budget your picks with that. Another big difference is in this league, you can draft anywhere between 9 and 11 Pokemon, whereas in other leagues I've joined, you have to draft exactly 10 Pokemon. So I think that about half of the people in this league drafted, I think, 9 Pokemon, and then the other half drafted 10. Nobody drafted 11. So obviously, if you consolidate your points into fewer picks, you can get, a little more pricey picks, for those 9, versus if you went for 10 or even 11, you would have to spread those points out quite a bit more. So, advantages and disadvantages to both strategies, actually. You can definitely create more depth to your team if you have more entries, versus if you have less entries, you might have, a few more powerhouses, but then it's going to be pretty obvious what you're bringing every week, so it's going to be a lot easier to prep for it. So, um, but one thing that's actually very similar between this draft league and the ones that we're used to here is that it is essentially set up the exact same way, in terms of there are 16 teams totaled, split into 2 different conferences, 8 teams apiece, or I'm sorry, 8 teams apiece, and then 2 divisions per conference, so a total of 4 divisions with 4 teams each in those divisions. So the way that you make the playoffs, it's going to be a 12-week regular season. Again, pretty standard as to what we're used to here. And then at the end of those 12 weeks, the teams that are in first place in all 4 of their respective divisions are going to make it to the playoffs. And then per conference, there's going to be 2 wild cards that get into the playoffs, and those are going to be the 2 in each conference that have the best records. So set up pretty much identically to what we've seen before in draft leagues past here on the channel there. So again, that was a big selling point for me, that things were set up pretty similarly in this league as they were to leagues that I've joined in the past. So definitely makes things a little easier to kind of transition. I will say I don't think I've had really any interaction with any of the players in this league, actually. I've never battled them for fun or in a league setting, to my knowledge, at all. So definitely going to be a little bit of a learning curve here for me as far as the players go, but it should definitely be a pretty fun, exciting, and interesting season. I am pretty excited about it, and looking forward to go ahead and see how the season plays out. So with that said, we are going to go ahead and take a look at my team that I drafted here. And so there it is. We have the RoDL3 Philadelphia Pidgeys back in action. Fly, Pidgeys, fly. I'm sure you remember all that good stuff from draft leagues past. So we're going to kind of go over my team here, every pick in each round that I drafted, and then kind of why I chose it and what I'm hoping to accomplish with it on the team, and maybe strengths and weaknesses and all that kind of stuff. So first pick in the first round, I actually drafted Scizor. So Scizor is a personal favorite Pokemon of mine, one that I've actually wanted to use in a draft league setting, but never really did get to using in a draft league, and but a Pokemon that I'm extremely familiar with using in free battles. So I've used it in every generation pretty much, even before I started YouTubing in Gen 6. So all throughout Gen 6, 7, 8, and then generations prior to that as well, pretty much since it came out. So just a personal favorite Pokemon, a real powerhouse, obviously dual type bug steel, a premier steel type Pokemon, just an incredible Pokemon, a lot of different options to use with it. And so another thing I actually was going to mention, though, about my team here, and I guess this is a good time to bring it up. In drafting this team, I really kind of wanted to enact a strategy of middle of the road Pokemon, and Pokemon with a lot of potential. So what I mean by that is, I think the highest value Pokemon I drafted were 7-point Pokemon on the scale of 1 to 10. So a lot of people went for at least 1, 9, or 10 pick, maybe 2 in some cases, versus myself, I went with every pick I believe I made fell between 2 and 7 points. So a much more rounded team, a little bit beefier of a team, because like I said, I did draft 10. So that's kind of the strategy I'm going with here, as well as potential. So um, a lot of the Pokemon that I drafted are Pokemon that are maybe not right out of the gate really broken, but Pokemon that have a lot of potential to be broken if used properly and if set up the correct way. So that was really kind of what I was going for with this draft. So I think Scissor, with its current status in Gen 8, is kind of, not a not like a top shelf Pokemon anymore, but still a relatively good one. I think was definitely a solid choice for the first pick here. Obviously doesn't deal very well with fire types, but that's something I'm going to have to work with throughout the season. But I'm familiar with that. That definitely comes with the territory of using Scissor. So, but yeah, again, just a personal favorite of mine, and really wanted to use it. So there it is. So in the second round, I decided to go ahead and keep the age-old tradition of the Philadelphia Pidgeys alive, and that is to draft another personal favorite of mine, and that, of course, is Goodra. So Goodra, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you'll know, has been on every single rendition of the Philadelphia Pidgeys, and I was not about to let that tradition end here with this draft league. So Goodra, with this draft league, actually becomes the only surviving member of the Philadelphia Pidgeys to be on every single rendition of the team, and I'm pretty excited about that. I was happy to grab Goodra. It is a premier special wall. It hits very hard as well, pure dragon type, obviously. Just a phenomenal Pokemon all around, and again, a personal favorite of mine. So I know Goodra very well. I've been using it ever since it came out in Gen 6. Quite a lot. So definitely wanted to bring that back on this team here, and just you know, again, just another Pokemon with a lot of potential that you can use in any number of different ways. So yeah, so coming up next after that, I decided to grab as my third pick Alolan Ninetales. So this is another Pokemon that I really wanted to use in a draft league setting in a draft league's past, but just never really got around to drafting it. So I decided that the time was now to grab it. Another great Pokemon, very fast, hits pretty hard on the special side, Ice Fairy dual type, of course, and obviously a premier Hail Setter, a premier Aurora Veil user. Pretty much nobody does it better than Alolan Ninetales. Again, another personal favorite too, just a Pokemon that is just really good and has a lot of potential overall. Kind of a glass cannon, obviously, which is kind of ironic since it's an ice type, but just a great Pokemon that can do a lot of good things, especially the Aurora Veil, probably the premier thing that this guy can do. So definitely looking forward to using this guy in Draft League and seeing what I can get him to do. So moving along, next up we have Seismitoad, which is actually a returning Philadelphia Pidgey from the NGDL3 team, and then one of actually a total of three Pokemon that I have on the team that I've used in prior draft leagues. So Seismitoad, of course, dual type water ground, which is an excellent type combination, one of the best in the game, and another very versatile Pokemon with either status or attacks. Very bulky. Again, the great typing only aids to it being a great wall, and just another Pokemon that I really enjoy using. I've used it quite a bit over the years, and something that I think is a really solid addition to pretty much any team, just due to that typing, only that single weakness to grass, which is pretty easily covered by a lot of other Pokemon that you can pick. So yeah, definitely just another solid choice in my opinion. So up next after that we have Boltund. So Boltund is a brand new Pokemon here in Sword and Shield. Gen 8's a pure electric type. Very fast, actually. At this point in the draft, I kind of wanted to grab something else that had a little more speed to it, since most of the Pokemon I had picked at this point were pretty slow. So, yeah, Boltund was a pretty good value pickup in the draft, and it's pretty versatile, actually. It has respectable attack and special attack, although with its ability and move pool, it's going to be physical more often than not. But the speed tier is pretty incredible on this thing. Believe it is definitely the fastest Pokemon I have on the team. And again, just another Pokemon with a lot of potential here. Nothing super crazy, nothing super broken, but just a lot of stuff that I like that I think has a lot of potential to it. And I was happy with that pickup. And yeah, that took me to the first half of the team there. So at this point in the draft, things started to take a little bit of a side road, I guess you would say, because um, I kind of got to the point in the draft where there was a lot of I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do because I knew the team was filling out pretty nicely at this point, but I wasn't positive exactly what I wanted to grab or what direction I wanted to go in next because, as you can imagine, starting to run out of points and trying to budget for the rest of the team because I knew that I wanted to draft 10 Pokemon. I didn't want to go as low as 9, even though I was allowed to. I wanted to get the full 10. So for the next pickup, I figured I had pretty much one more high value pick left in me, so I decided that I was going to go with Poltegeist for this one. And this is another new Pokemon to Gen 8 or Sword and Shield. A premier Shell Smasher, if there ever was one, honestly. Pure Ghost type. And so it's actually got pretty decent bulk, honestly. Not physically, but HP is not too bad, and special defense is actually pretty good on this guy. So, like I said, Premier Shell Smasher, and with access to the stored power set, also just a really awesome Pokemon. And again, another Pokemon with a lot of potential here if it can be set up properly to just do a lot of damage to teams. So, this is a Pokemon, one of the new Pokemon that I think I immediately took a shine to because pure Ghost type is very strong on its own, but then you have everything else that it has going for it, especially the ability to Shell Smash, is just really, really strong. So, definitely looking forward to hopefully doing some good things with this guy this season as well. So, so moving along, we are going to get to the seventh pick in the draft, and that is going to be Octillery. So, um, Octillery, of course, pure water type, quite an old Pokemon. This is a Pokemon that I've actually, up until recently, never used before. So, shout out to Poke Trainer Joshi actually for his video on all the different ways you can use Octillery because we kind of talked about it, and believe it or not, I actually took a little bit of inspiration to use Octillery from that because Octillery's always been a Pokemon low tier that I've wanted to use, but I kind of wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with it, and so I just ended up putting it off and never using it. But after the inspiration that I had, I decided that I was going to go ahead and make a set that I liked and use it, and it works pretty well. It works pretty well, I will say. Although there are a lot of different sets that this guy can run, and I think most people aren't very familiar with this guy because, like I said, it is a pretty low tier Pokemon. Actually, I think the lowest of any that I drafted here. Um, but I think that it has, again, a lot of potential to do some really powerful things, and there's just so many different sets you can use with it. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to giving this guy a shot as well. I think in draft league, the one of, if not the best thing that you can have on your side is the element of surprise. You want to be able to bring something that your opponents are not expecting, and that is what's going to get wins in draft league, in my opinion anyway. So that is also, having said that, that's also hard to do in draft league because your opponent knows exactly which Pokemon you have at your disposal, obviously. So surprising your opponent is a pretty difficult task to do. But if you can do that, it will really, really help your chances. And I think Octillery definitely has the potential to do that for me with all the different sets it can use. It has an incredible move pool as well, decent bulk, and it's definitely a great addition to the team. I think, like I said, I'm looking forward to trying making it do stuff. So. But moving along, we're going to get to the next pick. That is going to be Alolan Persian. So another Pokemon that I like quite a bit, and that I was thinking about using actually in previous draft leagues, but never got to it. So I decided at this point in the draft, of course, running out of options because a lot of stuff has already been drafted, running out of points to make draft selections with. I decided that that was going to be the way to go. So Alolan Persian adds some speed to the team as well, and also some nice pivots as well. With, of course, the parting shot is the probably premier thing that it can do. So, another Pokemon that I think I could do some good things. I think as we get down toward the end of the draft, though, probably. Pokemon that we're less likely to see on a weekly basis here in the draft league, but definitely some handy options in the back so that I can kind of change out depending on who I'm facing that week. So Alolan Persian definitely has the potential to put in some work given that. So, but up next we have the last Pokemon that is returning to the Philadelphia Pidgeys from a prior draft league, and that is going to be Trevenant, which is a Pokemon that I used back in the NGDL3, my first draft league. And again, just another personal favorite. Been using Trevenant pretty consistently since its release in Gen 6, and another Pokemon again that just has a lot of potential. I hate to beat a dead horse here, but another Pokemon that is relatively low tier, relatively low cost, but it does have a lot of potential. Quite a few different sets you can use. Of course, the access to Harvest is nice, and the access to the brand new move, Tutor move, Poltergeist, which is, I believe, the strongest single turn ghost attack there is. So yeah, it's it's pretty awesome. And I'm glad to have it back. It can do a lot of good things. The typing is very useful, of course, being Grass Ghost, which is a nice offset. The Lowland Persian, of course, pure dark. So nice offset for the most of the rest of the team there. And yeah, I like Trevenant a lot because it can do quite a bit of things, and people really don't expect it too much because it's just not that common of a Pokemon. So, but definitely in the right situations, it can do a lot of work. So definitely looking forward to using that again. It did do some good things, as did Seismitoad, and then of course Gudra, my former Philadelphia Pidgeys returned. I've all done some great work in the past, so I'm looking for some more here in the RoDL3 as well. So finally, last but not least, we have the 10th pick of the team, and that is going to be Drampa. So the normal dragon type, and a Pokemon that at this point in the draft, I had a few points left, and I wasn't really sure what to pick. So Drampa was kind of just the backup dragon choice in case there's ever a situation that I really don't want to bring Gudra. So if you guys notice from the draft, I think there were only a few types that I doubled up on. So Gudra and Drampa, both dragon types. And then, of course, Poltegeist and Trevenant, both ghost types. And then Seismitoad and Octillery, both water types. So, yeah, those were the types that I doubled up on for a couple different reasons because I wanted to be able to interchange those Pokemon depending on the week, depending on the opponent. I tried to draft things that would be pretty good against the players in my league, which I don't have their teams up on the screen here for you to see now, but maybe that would make some of the picks make a little more sense. Maybe not, I don't know. Um, but yeah, so Drampa kind of rounded off the team there, and I'm pretty. It's pretty good. It's got a very high special attack stat. It's decent bulk, so hopefully I can make this guy do something as well. And yeah, so I will say, as far as my overall feelings on my draft, so I am actually pretty happy with this draft, although admittedly, I have to say, objectively speaking, I am not quite as happy with this draft as I was with my last draft, that would have been the NGDL4 draft that I had, the one that I ended up winning the whole season with. So I don't think that this draft is quite as good as that team, objectively speaking. But at the same time, I will say I think it's better than my NGDL3 draft. So that was the one that we didn't even place in the playoffs. So I think this draft is on paper, as far as power goes, I think it lands right in the middle of my two prior draft league experiences. So I will say I am pretty excited to use this team because I see, again, a lot of potential to do some great things with a lot of these Pokemon, and I am pretty excited to go ahead and be back in a draft league and to attempt to realize the potential for a lot of these Pokemon. So, let's see here. There we go. So, once again, that is the Philadelphia Pidgeys. This is the return of the Philadelphia Pidgeys to Draft League. Time for the Pidgeys to fly again. And like I said, I'm happy with the team. I am excited for the league. I will say I will probably end up making a couple of changes to the team over the course of the season, as I normally do. That is one other thing I forgot to mention, speaking of which, as far as team altering in this league, that's a little bit different. In this league, you're allowed a total of 6 swaps to the free agency with all of your Pokemon within the year, but that's total, and that's non-restricted to weeks. So in other words, you could burn through all 6 of them in 1 week if you want to, and just completely overhaul your team in just one felt swoop. But that's it at the end of the day. That would be it. You wouldn't be allowed to change your team at all. After that, other thing that I want to mention, in this league, unlike in other leagues, the other leagues I've been in, you're actually able to trade Pokemon between coaches. So this is something unique that I don't know how much it's going to factor in at all to the season, or for me specifically, or for anyone else. I have no idea. Um, but I think that's an interesting option to have in the back pocket. So we'll kind of see if that ever becomes a thing for us. I kind of don't think it will be. I think more than likely we'd just be doing free agency trades, if anything. But I guess we'll see what happens. There's always the potential to make some trades with coaches. So, an interesting extra thing that we can do here that we couldn't do in leagues past. So. But yeah, again, excited for the league, excited for the season. Having said that, our first match of the season will actually be coming your way very shortly. I've kind of been on a little bit of a crunch schedule, putting out all these videos in short order, and so probably not long after this video comes out, you guys are going to see the season, I should say, the week 1 match for the Philadelphia Pidgeys in the RoDL3. So that's going to be coming your way very shortly. So hopefully we can do good this season. Like I said, I'm pretty optimistic and hopeful that we can do good this season. And I'm interested to kind of challenge myself to realize the potential of a lot of these Pokemon, which is really what I'm looking to do in this draft league here. So I think that pretty well covers it. So thanks for watching again, everybody. Hope you all enjoyed. Please hit that like button, leave a comment, and or subscribe if you did enjoy, and stay tuned for more new videos in the future. Like I said, coming your way very shortly is going to be the week 1 battle, and then we will have one battle a week subsequent to that for the 12-week span, and then after that, hopefully we can make the playoffs with our team and our record, and then go from there. So that's it, and we'll see you next time.